Hello, my name is Marcus Deep, and I'm a 25-year-old trans man who transitioned 6 years ago. Some of you might know me from my more provocative videos, where I react to creepy men lurking in women's spaces.
I will not be using the men's bathroom. I won't.
Just lovely. I had a neighbor confront me for using the women's restroom.
So I just had to call out sick from work because I've had these awful, unexplainable stomach cramps all day. I really hope that I'm sick.
And female activists with blue hair and big septum piercings screaming that you're transphobic just for existing.
Not only do non-binary people have to deal with regular homophobes and transphobes, now we are having to deal with people in our community coming for us.
But there was a reason why I started making those videos. I wanted to make a clear distinction between radical trans activism and actual transsexualism. Most modern trans activists are not really trans. Watching people who have never had my experience speak on my behalf, spreading so much misinformation, and insisting on being the voice of all trans people was beyond frustrating, almost unbearable. And when I launched my channel, almost no one who had actually transitioned was speaking publicly. So I felt a responsibility to step in, to clean up the mess, the huge mess, by saying that behavior, that ideology has nothing to do with transsexualism, with the trans experience.
I dare you to try and stop me from going into a women's bathroom. It will be the last mistake you ever make.
Hi there. You can either respect my trans homies, or I can identify as a fucking problem. And if I catch your being disrespectful, your pronouns are going to be was, were.
Oh, you piece of shit. He's a fucking senior. I don't care if you look like a girl. You're a man. So stop acting like it.
Stop
okay?
acting like a piece of shit.
Out of my face, okay?
Don't make me.
I didn't want regular and already open-minded people to become transphobic because they see meltdowns on TikTok. So I stepped in, and over time, others did too. Together, we reached millions of people, and I think we actually made a difference. But the job is not done, because there are still thousands of young people around the world who are extremely confused about their identity, specifically their gender identity. They're being told they're transgender, they're sure of being gender dysphoric, but in most cases, that's not true. They're mistaking anxiety, trauma, social pressure, or identity confusion for gender dysphoria. And sadly, no one around them is being honest about it. That's why I'm making this new series, How to Know If You're Trans. Not to shock or to provoke, but to clarify. I originally called this channel The Offensive Tranny because I've always been brutally honest. I'm not into sugarcoating, not into ideology being ideological. I just want to talk about the truth, even if it hurts. This series is about gender identity, dysphoria, and mental health, and how to find clarity and peace in a world full of noise. And yes, I am still very much anti-woke, anti-trans ideology, the trans community. The current one. My opinions haven't changed, but my goal here isn't to dunk on specific people, like on a personal level. It's to reach people, even the ones who might not agree with me yet. So if you're questioning, confused, or trying to understand someone you care about, this series is for you. Let's get into it. Gender dysphoria is a term that gets used a lot these days, but what does it actually mean? At its core, gender dysphoria is a psychological condition marked by significant distress related to one's biological sex. This distress is the main reason why trans people transition, to alleviate that internal pain. I find it helpful to break dysphoria into three main categories: body dysphoria, distress about physical sex characteristics; social dysphoria, discomfort with being perceived and treated as your biological sex; language dysphoria, triggered by the use of your old name and pronouns. For me, I felt dysphoric about parts of my body, even if I was completely alone and no one could see me. I felt it when I had to go out in public, presenting as a woman, knowing I couldn't do a goddamn thing about it. And it did hit hard when people accidentally used she, her pronouns in my old name. As you can imagine, gender dysphoria is a huge part of trans people's lives. It's real, painful, but here's the thing. Despite how common being trans may seem online, especially among teens today, clinically diagnosed gender dysphoria is still quite rare. We need to ask honest questions, like how likely is it that this is truly gender dysphoria? Could it be something else that just looks similar on the surface? Let's explore a few conditions and experiences that might mimic gender dysphoria. Trauma. If someone has experienced powerlessness, invincibility, and violation, their brain might seek drastic ways to cope and to escape. For some, reshaping their body and changing their identity feels like a big reset, a big necessary reset. But the real path for those who have experienced trauma might be healing past wounds, not transitioning. Transitioning won't necessarily heal wounds from the past. Autism and OCD. People on the spectrum, or those with obsessive-compulsive tendencies, can fixate on the idea of being trans. It becomes a loop. What if I'm trans and I don't know it? What if I'm a boy trapped in a girl's body and I don't know it? This is not gender dysphoria, but rather a compulsive doubt and a different type of distress. Borderline personality disorder, BPD. People with BPD lack a stable sense of self. They might feel empty and unsure of who they truly are. They generally experience intense, rapidly changing emotions and are prone to risky behaviors and self-harm. Identity can shift quickly, and some experiment with gender as a part of this struggle. But gender dysphoria is persistent and about dealing with specific distress about gender, and not about general identity confusion. Internalized homophobia. Some people, sadly, even in the West, the pro-LGBT tolerant West, reject their same-sex attraction, to the point where they convince themselves that they're actually trans. For example, a woman might think, I'm a man trapped in a woman's body, so I'm straight, not a lesbian. Some people even do it for their partner. It makes me super sad to think about. My point is, not all discomfort related to gender and gender identity means that someone is trans and is dealing with gender dysphoria. So, how do you know if you're dealing with gender dysphoria? Honestly, that's not a simple question to answer. That's why we need a space for people to question whether what they're feeling is gender dysphoria or if it's something completely else. Understanding what's truly going on inside of your head takes time. You have to be patient. And it's so important to explore all possibilities with self-care, compassion, and most importantly, with an open mind. You don't need to rush into conclusions. What matters the most is being honest with yourself, allowing yourself to be honest. When I say exploring all possibilities with an open mind, what I mean is, no matter what you find out, you will be okay. You don't need to hope, literally hope, that you have gender dysphoria, and it's not the end of the world if what you're dealing with is OCD, trauma, borderline, or whatever it is. Self-acceptance is key, and it's also very important to accept reality, the truth. No one can erase mental disorders, unfortunately. But what we can do is learn how to live alongside them without letting them define us. It's possible. I can speak from personal experience. It's, of course, possible. I want to clarify that I'm not here to tell you who you are and how you feel. I don't know you personally. I'm not here to shame people who are wrongfully identifying as trans, because being wrong about something is not the end of the world. I'm here to have the conversation your family, your friends, and even your therapist won't have because they're afraid of offending you. I don't care if I offend you. I'm okay with risking offending people if it means spewing the truth. I would much rather make someone mad by saying you're not trans and here's why, than to stay silent and just watch them make irreversible decisions based on misunderstood emotions, pain. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. Remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell. Let me know what you think, and I cannot wait to read your comments down below. Peace out.